Hi Chris, good to see you at the Social Media Cafe. We've been talking a bit about Windows 7, we thought we'd share it with some of the people here. So, my name's Steve Lamb, I work for Microsoft. I Twitter a lot, some people say too much. My Twitter name is Action Lamb, I'm into sports and my surname's Lamb. It's just an old nickname. I work in PR at Microsoft, but I'm highly technical, and I'm just going to show you about Windows 7.
Fantastic, I've heard a lot about this, Steve. How long have you been using it?
So I started using Windows 7 back in October at the Professional Developers Conference. Been running the alpha build since then. A couple of days ago I moved up to Beta 1. So I've got Beta 1 on this machine.
So the interesting thing is actually, let's just see, you are using a MacBook Air.
I am. I'm running Vista Native. Oh, I was running Vista natively since June, which is when I got the device. I'm now running Windows 7 natively using Boot Camp to give me the boot environment. So I get the benefits of matching performance, all the fancy graphics stuff. Essentially it's a Windows PC.
But as far as I'm aware, I think I saw you tweet yesterday that actually there's drivers on Windows 7 for the Mac.
Yeah, so it's interesting. When I was on the alpha release, I had to put the Boot Camp DVD in to get any kind of graphics or any of the major functions. With Beta 1, it's still beneficial to put it in because then you get the screen brightness controls on the keyboard, a couple of other bits and pieces, but you don't actually need that to get the full Aero Glass graphics.
Yep.
So the out-of-the-box experience is that bit easier. But it's still best practice to put the Boot Camp in anyway, so you get the extra pieces.
Yep, sure.
I've got one problem on the beta, and that's I don't have a working audio driver. On the alpha, I didn't have a working network stack apart from 3G, so that was much more restrictive.
Yep.
I also couldn't get Adobe Air to work on alpha either. Again, that works perfectly on the beta.
Cool.
So my machine's sleeping at the moment. You can maybe see I've got a flashing light here.
Yeah.
Let's give it a moment. One of my favourite features is really simple, how fast it comes out of sleep.
Okay.
So, okay, now we're ready to roll.
Great.
So pretty quick.
Yep.
It sleeps as quickly as that as well. So I'm just going to log it in, hiding the password from you. I could log in using a smart card, I'm just not choosing to do that currently.
Yep.
So here we've got base machine. Another thing I really like about it, obviously I'm biased being a Microsoftie, but from a usability point of view, I can see live previews of all the tabs I've got running. And that's not specific to the app, so if I had lots of notepads running or pretty much any application, I'm going to see live previews of those as well. So it just works across the board. Here I can even kill those windows, so I can say, you know what, I don't need the social media wiki page, just kill that from here. Also as I mouse over, you'll see in the background, it gets reflected.
Very cool, so it actually changes when you're rolling over things so you can see.
Yeah. Something else that's quite nice is if you've got a backdrop festooned with icons, you can get to those here just mousing over the corner.
Yeah.
You've got other nice little things like you've got some gesturing. So if I put any old rubbish in Notepad, if I flick it to the top it goes full screen. Just bring it back down again. I can flick it. Let's say I had another app running as well. In this case I'm just going to pick Notepad. They don't have to be the same app. Then I've got options to, I can flick it to the right. Oops, no, I went too high up. Then I can do the same with the other one.
Okay.
And then just get them half and half.
That's very slick, isn't it? Because then we're talking usability really, aren't we?
That's what's made me use, I put the alpha on because I was intrigued, but I actually used it daily because it was stable. And it was these simple things that really made me want to stay with it.
Yep.
Something else that's quite nice is I've got a memory stick here. It's a nice form factor, but it's just a generic memory stick.
Yep.
This one cost me £5, so it's hardly fancy. If I plug that into my USB stick, into my USB socket, hopefully my key's on and I kill it with the weight of it on here. What I see as a user is it's using BitLocker, so it's encrypted the entire memory stick.
Yep.
Now this is the worst user experience, the default, which is enter a password every time.
Yep.
And I can use it on any Windows 7 machine, it will just work. What I'm going to do is if I just turn around to type the password in for a second.
No, surely I want to video that.
Again, I can use a smart card to avoid that problem.
Yep.
But if I just hit automatic,
Yep.
then all subsequent times I do this, I won't be prompted on this machine for a PIN.
Okay, nice.
So that's quite a nice way to do it as well.
Yep.
I don't notice a performance difference of using encryption. It's just nice and easy.
So what are the killer features of Windows 7 above Vista?
Performance primarily. I've put it on a netbook, works well. I've put it on a 6-year-old laptop, Compaq Evo with an Pentium 4 CPU. It's got gig of RAM, and it runs similar to XP, much faster than Vista. Startup time's better, shutdown's better, less CPU, less disk, less thrashing, less power.
So in terms of the power, what sort of battery life do you get?
I've been running all morning on this, so it's 1:30 in the afternoon. I've been here since 10.
Yep.
I've still got 35% battery.
Wow.
And I've been using it interactively.
Wow.
Something that's quite nice about it, apart from the general performance improvements, are, if you remember on Vista, you had to choose your power profile. Mm-hmm. So I created one that was really tight, so it used maximum 5% CPU and things like that.
Yep.
This one's actually got a little bit more smarts in there, so you can leave it on balanced, and it will try and work out based on what you're doing, how much performance you actually need. So I've had it on balanced all morning. Cool. So I'm getting masses of battery life out.
So in terms of, obviously you used to run Vista on this system, didn't you? So
from June to October.
So compared to Vista, what is it, 50% better on battery power or 100% better?
It's difficult to equate it. I mean, I wouldn't have got this long here. I'd have been looking for power by now.
Yeah.
I'm finding typically it's maybe half an hour longer. I'm getting more battery life than I get on OS X on the same box.
Right.
But it is totally subjective.
Yeah.
Depends on what apps you're using, etc.
Yeah.
Haven't tried a scientific test, but usability experience, definitely more battery life.
Cool.
So from a green point of view, that's power. It's all
Yeah.
good. The Air, I typically get about 3.5-4 hours battery life before.
Mm-hmm.
It's only getting more than that now. So you also get other nice things, like if I go into, if I press the Windows key, or in this case the Apple key, and E, easiest way to get Explorer. That's true in Vista as well.
Yep.
The reason I've gone in here is libraries.
Okay.
So if you've got multiple machines, maybe you've got a media center, which is built into Ultimate here like it is in Vista, but maybe you've got a home server or another PC, an XP machine, something different. You can actually configure up different sources of media and documents, and then once you've told your machine where they are, they just get all correlated into different libraries.
Yep.
So it's as if they're all local, and yet they're being streamed across from different machines. So some usability, nice and easy. Another good one is home groups. So this could be a domain joined machine, and I could choose by default to share, say, my media but not my documents to other machines in my home environment that I've chosen to authenticate to one another. So home groups are a bit like a domain but at home, but you can have separation between what you share and what you don't. Again, it's all about bringing the machine home, unlock it, and then you can just access things seamlessly. You've also got little subtle things like, if I do mouse overs, it just moves around, it's a bit more pretty. Mm-hmm. Not important, but just nice to have. It's the way the things
a bit more intuitive maybe, yeah?
Yeah, I mean you get things that, to be honest, I don't see benefit of I can change the order of the icons down here. Mm-hmm. I've seen product managers get excited about that. I don't see a lot of use to that.
Yeah.
But some people like that. They're the key things for me.
Is there any new features that we haven't seen before that has been introduced on this one?
There's lots of subtle things. Encrypting USB wasn't there in Vista. You can only encrypt the main file system. The device manager's new. The libraries are new. But most of it is refining what's there.
And has this been built on the Vista driver model? Because I know that when Vista came out, there was a lot of problems, especially with Toshiba's, for example, because the driver model was different.
So the design goal of this is if it works in Vista, it will work in Win 7.
Okay.
We may find some exceptions, but that certainly seems to be the case.
Yeah.
Now I've got an exception, my audio driver doesn't work. Mm-hmm. Not sure why that is. But generally speaking, yeah, things just work. But it's important to say if things don't work under Vista, they're not going to work under Win 7.
Yeah, but I mean, I'm sure that, well, I would imagine that we're in beta now with Windows 7, and I would imagine that stuff like that is going to get resolved, because it's not even at a release stage yet, is it really?
I mean, if I take this machine now and put it to sleep, as soon as that's flashing, it's sleeping.
Yep.
So it's saving to memory, saving to disk now, it's asleep.
Yeah. Cool.
For me, that's killer. I hardly ever shut the machine down, I just sleep it.
Yeah. So you know, I've known you for some time, Steve, and for me, I've known you've had a MacBook Air.
Yeah.
But, you know, where does Microsoft stand on employees having MacBook computers? I mean, this wouldn't have happened a few years ago, would it?
It depends who you ask. Some people have a problem with that. The majority see that we don't make laptops. I find I like the design of the device, that's why I bought the device. I think it's also good to understand OS X has its appeal. There's a lot of people like OS X. Why? Unless you actually try it occasionally, you really don't know. So I like Vista, I have done since it came out. I ran it 2 years before it came out. But if I don't have an appreciation of what's good about OS X, I can't reasonably say what's good about Vista in comparison.
Yeah.
But as a device, it's good. Using Boot Camp, it's very easy to get Windows in a box. either using Vista, XP or Win 7. So Apple's done a good job there. They produce a nice device, we produce a great OS.
So thanks very much, Steve.
Thanks, Chris.